Hello, this is Heather Hoffman, and I'm here today with a card using the June 2021 Kit of the Month from Unity Stamp Company. I'm kind of doing some fun ink blending and fixing a little bit of an oops and a little bit of a diagonal pattern to the ink blending. So we're just going to have some fun with this. I pulled out that beautiful floral, just simple stamped image, and I want to create an inked panel. So I kind of like to lay my stamp on to kind of plan my placement, and I wanted my ink panel to be smaller than the stamp that I'm going to use. And you might also notice there I'm using the grid. You could use a ruler or something else to make sure you have those even, but I'm using that grid on my mat to make sure I get those level. I don't want slanted lines for this, or you can intentionally go for the slanted lines if you want. Kind of up to what you want to do. I'm using Post-it tape. I wanted something easily removable that'll work really good for the masking. All right, now on to color choices. I kind of pulled out my color wheel. I wanted to kind of pick my colors so they kind of went progressively around the wheel to be able to blend well. I'm using Pinkfresh Studio inks. Quite often I use Distress inks, but you can use other dye inks as well. And I kind of picked my colors. I don't know what's wrong with my camera focus there. I apologize for that. But it was not a part where it was super important to be able to see. So hopefully, I think after this, the focus was just fine. So I didn't want to skip through that part. So I just kind of dealt with that. All right, so I'm starting off here with my yellow color. I'm using Lemon Whip from Pinkfresh Studio. And a lot of times when I'm ink blending colors and panels like this, I tend to go in straight lines. And I thought it would be kind of fun to do a little bit of a diagonal pattern. So my masking is still straight across on my card panel, but I'm going diagonal for the ink blending. So that yellow is kind of concentrated in the bottom right-hand corner. Then I'm coming in with Ocean Breeze, which is kind of just a nice soft aqua blue color, blending those a little bit together. Coming in with my darker color here, Aquamarine, and I'm keeping my ink blending pretty soft here. I just want a little soft layer of color. I'm not going too dark. I do go over again to deepen the color a little. I kind of got some smudges there of my blue, which was Seaside. So I went ahead and started darkening that a little. And this is where I noticed my oops. I'd ink blended a little too hard, and I pushed up on that piece, and I almost just threw it away and started over and redid my video. But I thought, maybe this will give a cool look, and I kind of like a little bit of a beveled effect that it gave. So because I decided to go with that, I also wanted to match it up and do the same thing on the bottom. I think it would have looked weird only on the top, but by doing this on both sides, it's actually, I want to play with this technique a little bit more, because I think it would be fun even to do multiple layers of this, kind of add, like I said, it almost gives a beveled frame kind of look. All right, so I did that, and then I'm coming back around there and going in with each of the colors just to deepen the color a little bit again. So as it worked out, my Ocean Breeze ended up kind of being soft in there and not maybe super noticeable. I probably could have just done the 3 colors, but I tried to keep that little bit of softness between the yellow and that darker aquamarine. And then I blended that aquamarine a little bit deeper into that blue color. Now, if you use dye inks, even Distress inks a little bit, part of the properties of dye inks is it takes a little time for them to sink in and dye the paper. So even if it looks a little like it's blotchy and not smooth, don't worry, because as it dries, the colors are going to soften a little, and they're also going to smooth out a little bit more. All right, so now that we have our ink blended panel, I'm going to grab my florals, and I'm going to go ahead and stamp those over the top. I'm just stamping them in black. The design of these was perfect for just a silhouette look like we're going for on here. I'm stamping this with VersaFine ONYX black ink. It's just a great black pigment ink. Any good dye ink, even pigment ink in black would work really well for this. And then I'm going to line up my sentiment over there. I'm trying to kind of tuck it around the layers of those florals there. And I'm using the grid on my MISTI just to make sure I have the words straight on there. I kind of arranged it, then realized I had things crooked. And then I slid it around until I kind of liked where it was tucked in place there. Stamping it 2 times since I have the MISTI and that ability. And then I went ahead and cleaned up my MISTI, and I'm trimming a little bit off all of the sides of the card. I kind of focused a little more on that left side of the front because I felt like I had a little heaviness of the cardstock there. All right, now I'm going to come in and add a foam panel to the back of that. This is just fun foam that I use wide Scor-Tape on to get a nice solid panel for a simple little bit of dimension. And then we're going to go ahead and finish this off with some white jewels. These are also from Pinkfresh Studio. They're the Glacier white. They come in that little refill pouch now. So I like pulling out that color because I use that quite a bit. So I'm glad I can get refills of just that one. So I kind of played with different sizes and placements. These come in 3 sizes, and it's always fun to mix and match the sizes. I like to do them in little clusters of 3 off on their own. And then I tucked some of the others just onto the bases of the flowers. So it kind of highlighted those spots a little bit as well. All right, then I quickly adhered all of those down. I use a little bit of glossy accents and a fine tip bottle to glue them all down. And this card is finished with a fun diagonally inked panel and some simple stamping. Thanks so much for coming by today. I hope you enjoyed and have a wonderful day.